Hey guys, what is up? Philip here, our radio controlled slope enthusiast and fanatic. And without pointing out the obvious, in this video I want to show you how we can cure those no wind season blues. So with wind season we love to fly on top of mountains, makes us very happy, but in no wind season here in South Africa, Gauteng, Johannesburg, we'll typically in the summer season between January and about April have very little wind, so we either have to go somewhere far to find it on top of slopes, or we have to just grab a transmitter or joystick and connect it to our PCs or laptops and load up funky simulators. And today I'm going to talk about specifically this transmitter here called the FlySky, which a friend of mine recently actually got for me, and then also the CRRC simulation, which is the Charles River radio controller simulation. I've never worked with FlySky before. I'm quite impressed. This is a brief review for FlySky's FSI6X 10 channel transmitter. I have been flying on CRRCSim since around about 2006, so it's already 12, almost 13 years ago, with us entering 2019 now. And what we're looking at here is something that in the past 10 to 12 years grown quite a bit with extra models and simulations. So without further ado, just quickly looking at the Banggood.com offer on the FlySky. It's the FSI6X, quite nice. It's a 10 channel radio, it's very affordable. I got mine with the X6B receiver. In future I will acquire the IA6B. The X6B looks like this, which just means there's a little bit more additional things that you have to plug in to get things going, because it basically looks like this. You can't just straight plug your servos or the typical standard servos into it, whereas with the FSIA6B receiver you can actually straight plug your servos into it the usual way. Both cost basically the same, and also the difference is this one's a 300 meter radius, whereas this one claims even up to 500 meters or more, so more of a kind of what they term a full range receiver. So yes, I'm not going to get the 1 or 2 kilometers or 4 kilometers that Hightech or Throttle or JR that might offer, but FlySky seems to have a very good deal on this. I'm quite chuffed. Now combining that with a simulator, a very free and open one called CRRCSim from Charles River Radio Controllers. They are a flying club in the States, and they've come up with this open sourced it. It's based on CRRCSim, as you can see also here, the NASA Langley Research Center simulator, so it's got some nice backing. And these models like the Allegro have been flying since 2006. The Super Zaggy and so forth has been there for quite a while. There's a few new models and a few new landscapes that's been loaded subsequently, and the awesome thing is on SourceForge you can click on files here and see that there's support for Windows, Mac and Linux. Here we've got a Mac file, a DMG, there's the Windows exe and the source code for Linux. Right, and if you're running Ubuntu you can likely just do a sudo apt-get install CRRCSim. The packages together with the data file itself will then install. How I did this on Arch Linux, because I'm running Arch, is I literally just use 3 commands. Git cloned the very recent version that compiles against GCC 8, which is awesome, and just compiled the package and literally ran the yay command to install the models and the extra sceneries as well. Right, so without any further ado, I will also show you what I've got going on here. I'm going to switch this transmitter on and make sure that on my Linux system it's plugged into the USB port. It's got a nice little cable that goes with it, and that actually came with it, so that plugs straight from the back of the transmitter into the USB port. And if I search for joystick, just to make sure my joystick is set up correctly, you can see on the screen I've got currently the joystick settings here, and if I move the sticks everything moves together as well. Okay, fantastic. So that's all working. Also all the buttons through the simulator, it specifically seems to be working, even though I didn't enable all of them. So there I've pressed 1 to 2, that's 3 to 4, and this one ears button, as you can see on the screen, 5 off, 6 now pressed, as well as 7 to 8, this one here. So all of them working. These are working as channel 5 and 6. You can see other values as well. So VR knobs, fantastic. And then what else can I tell you? This is the setup for the USB side. So before we actually even go any further, let me fire up CRRCSim. Very cool scenery loading. There we go. So I'm going to press escape to pause and give you a quick overview. So under options we can choose location, and currently I've got cold eye arc here. I think these are all in the French Alps, France East exposure, then the Vercors. Awesome sky simulation as well, but it's got something called a box frame, so there's a few lines on it. So if we actually have a look and see if this works, there we go, fantastic. I'll show you how I've set this up as well, but just look at this fantastic scenery. And I've been flying slope for so many years. I'm seriously impressed with Slope Soaring Simulator, the capabilities and the physics models built into it, as well as CRRCSim's simulation. Just comparing this to all the real slopes I've been flying, Northcliffe in Gauteng, Johannesburg, as well as all the Drakensberg slopes, Witzieshoek. It's just absolutely fantastic how these models handle the scenery. There, I crashed it, but that's fantastic. If I press escape on the keyboard, it brings up the menu. I can go to options and show you that we've got quite a few airplanes. Here I've got the Zaggy XS loaded. There's quite a few: Allegra, Apogee, Iris, Ellipse, Irwin. That is just fantastic. So that's the Zaggy XS I've got there. And if I press escape again, I can also show you the location. So we go to a default location you usually get, which is the Davis Field. Let's go there. The second thing also is that this model, the specific Zaggy, supports throttle, so I can actually throttle it up. So here I'm flying mode 2, throttle this side, and I can just relaunch it with R on the keyboard, for instance. There we go, flying this powered Zaggy. Let's see if I can throttle down and come land it quickly. There's that line for the box. Okay, this is awesome for also simulations. Look at this, flying over the clubhouse or toilet. There we go, nice one, good land. Okay, so if I press escape, I can go and change the airplane to something more suitable for this field. Maybe let's have a look at the Gap 65. And look at that, beautiful. Okay, so let's fire up a Gap. Okay, let's land a Gap. Oh, let's crash a Gap. There's a cornfield or Milliland or something there. There we go. You can press M to get that model view to disappear or appear. You can press W for wind, W again for vertical velocity as well, and switch it off. Let's have a look what else. We are slope guys, so location Cape Cod, my friends. Let's go to the sea, a cliff facing to the west, ideal for 270-degree wind. This is in Wellfleet Great Island National Seashore Area, and we definitely need something else to fly. Airplane, let's choose something like a F3F Beast. Let's have a look. There's a generic F3F glider. Great stuff, Crossfire F3F model. And off we go to the races, my friends. Look at this slope. So I'm gonna fly from the right to the left so we can just see where the slope actually stretches. There we go. Just look at this. Serene, tranquil. The model handles really well. I could maybe up the wind a little bit more. If I'm too far off the slope, I'm not gonna find any slope lift. This one's not a big slope, it's quite vertical though. So if I stay close to the slope, all goes well. Tipping wingtips there. I might recover this one nicely. There we go. And obviously massive landing space here at the back. Okay, so there we go. Excellent. And nice thing about this also, you can easily change your wind and thermals. So I typically dislike the turbulence. It's not very real, it doesn't feel real, so taking that down to 0 is great. and we can increase the velocity. 25 feet per second here is fairly okay, but I have got preloads here for Cape Cod, for instance, which loads it up to 25, and we can even take that a little bit down. So let's just save that as that. There we go. Right, so let's have a look at the last location maybe quickly. I love this other one called something that's also somewhere in the French Alps. Very real, very serene. Look at all these: Les Bazards, Montclocher. This looks very much like Witzies as well. Simple scenery. It's not the one we're interested in. Yeah, let's try this one out. Okay, and then scenery loading. Ah, beautiful. And let's maybe just start off with something like Zaggy. Airplane, let's make that a Zaggy XS. Okay, fantastic. See, the wind is quite strong. A lot of flow in here. I can see there's a little bit of turbulence set. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, there's even a cross. Okay, so the one thing that I can advise on this specific transmitter, for instance, is, let me just go to another location. Like, for instance, where is that fantastic other one? Is it the Brie? I think it's the Alp one. This is beautiful. This makes me really think of the Drakensberg. Let's have a look. Oh, look at this. Oh, beautiful. I love this. Okay, great. So if I handle the model like this, you'll see it's quite responsive. If I want to fly even smoother, then what I can do with this one specifically is I've set it up so that you press down on the OK button, it goes into the menu. I went into system first, so that's OK. Went down all the way to the bottom, and I've enabled the auxiliary switches. At the very least, I've switched on switch A. I'm not using switch D at all, but through the simulator all of them is on anyway. So switch A is on, and once that's on, you can go out here. So to switch it on, if you press OK, it just selects a few other ones. If I switch this on, then what happens is, so you go up or down, so now it's off. So initially you'll switch it to on, you'll press down on cancel to actually then save it. So if we go in now, we'll see it's on. And if I then go out to setup, and I go to function setup, this one here, you have to go all the way to the bottom. Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. Assign switches, and we have to actually assign switch A to sport mode. So on fly, on this mode here specifically, we're gonna go down to switch A. There we go. So now if I flip switch A, it becomes sport, from normal to sport. Okay, so now that that's set up, I can go out of here by holding down cancel to save it. And now that it's saved, I can go out to, this is the one I wanted to show, dual rates. Exponential I don't typically bother with, but dual rates can actually help us to gain fine control over our model. So go into dual rates. Now that we actually flip the switch, you'll see there's two modes. So sport, normal, and sport. Normal and sport typically is both 100, but then what I do is with normal I keep it at 100 rate, but this one I change it down to 60%. So it's on sport mode, it's not that sensitive. It actually loses some of its sensitivity. And to be able to see how this works on the model itself, I'm going to flip back to the model itself and click, well, in CRRCSim, press escape, go to airplane, sorry, not airplane, go escape, options, controls. Here also is where you configure your joystick input method, by the way. It picked up a FlySky, okay, so that's perfect. And if you configure it, you can actually see as you move the sticks, it moves the model on the screen, which is great, obviously, to also check that all your channels are set up correctly. I had to invert, for instance, the elevator and the rudder for them to work correctly. So this is rudder, this is throttle, this is aileron, and that's elevator. So now what happens with this switch here is if I push all the way up and I press this switch back, you'll see the model actually has got less of a up deflection. And if I push it all the way down, less. So it just make sure that if I fly in that mode permanently, everything just happens a little bit more subtle and not as harsh as it does with the full-on normal mode. That makes for smoother flying. So awesome, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm off to go fly on the French Alps a bit. The last thing I maybe can quickly show you as well, if I press R for reset, escape for pause, I can go to controls, go to buttons, and I can press maybe the second button for reset, this one here, okay, and it picks it up on the screen as button 3, for instance. If I put it down, then I select their reset and bind the button. Now that it's bound, I can actually just use this to reset it. So with that, that's quite awesome. I don't have to even touch the keyboard. I can just go reset and let's fly, my friends. Let's have a look at the French Alps. Bouncing Mount French Alp. Hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, let me know how you go. I believe this is an awesome simulator. Quite like it a lot. Have lots of fun and enjoy the no-wind season, my friends.